Alright, I'm about to feed Wally a raw pig foot. This one weighs about 12 ounces and there's about 30% bone in there, and the rest is cartilage, meat, and fat, with the majority being fat, I have to say. So if you have a pancreatic dog or a dog who's overweight, this is not the ideal raw meaty bone to feed. And this is also not a bone that I give Wally on a regular basis, but he gets one of these about once a month. All right, I usually feed him his raw meaty bones inside. We are in our shared yard space here, which is not completely fenced in. That's why I put him on a long leash. By the way, this one is by Mighty Paw, and the great thing about this leash is that you can just put it around any structure or tree without your dog taking off, so that's awesome. But also, I don't want him to grab the bone, like the pig's foot, and take it into like the bushes, or just take off with it, because I want to be able to, well, film it. All right, so that's why he's on a leash. Okay, Wally, go eat. And that right there is the Ziploc bag that I use to carry the foot downstairs. So like I said, that one weighs around 12 ounces. There's about 30% bone in there. The rest is cartilage, meat, fat. So that's essentially like a little more than 3.5 ounces of bone, which is double his daily allowance of bone that he usually gets when I follow the ratio diet and raw feeding, or the ratio approach in raw feeding. So usually he only needs 1.5 ounces of bone per day. He's about 38 pounds. He's a Feist mix and a normally active dog, so I feed him at a 2.5% maintenance percentage. And but yeah, so the amount of bone that's in this raw pig's foot is double of what he needs in a day, which means that tomorrow he's not going to need any bone, he's not going to get any bone, he's just going to be eating muscle meat and secreting organs tomorrow. Good stuff? Yeah. So yeah, so in case you were wondering if dogs can eat raw pig's feet, they absolutely can. Pork is actually a cooling protein. That thankfully works great for Wally, because he has several food allergies. He can't have anything chicken, he can't have any quail, he can't have any grains, he can't have any salmon either. He doesn't do too well with starchy foods, which makes sense because starch, well, can increase inflammation within the body, so there's that. So yeah, so pork is a cooling protein source that he can have along with the rabbit and duck. He does really well with those. And this is actually interesting because whenever I usually feed him raw meaty bones, or also whole animals like whole ducks or whole rabbits, he does not lie down. He'll eat those standing up. I also usually feed him in the kitchen or in his crate. But yeah, he usually does not lie down, so that's interesting. At the same time, he will try to take, or let me put it this way, if he had his way, he would take the raw meaty bone and take it onto the couch, at which point he would lie down with it there, or on a rug, which obviously I don't want to happen. So yeah, I usually just either, like, if I feed him in the crate, I'm just going to shut the crate door and remove his bedding too, because I don't want him on there. Or I'll just close the kitchen door, which you've probably seen if you've watched some of my recent videos. I'll just close both kitchen doors, and yeah, so obviously there's nothing soft or blanket wise in there, so maybe that's why he's just not lying down. And there's a decent amount of mossy grass here, so I guess maybe that's more comfortable. I guess I'm sure it's more comfortable, but okay, standing up, lying back down. Interesting. So yeah, let's see how long it's gonna take him to eat the pig's foot. Raw pig's foot, that is. So I got that one from the grocery store. Back in the States, you can get it from a few different raw dog food retailers. So one great option, by the way, is Answer's Pet Food. They actually sell fermented pig's feet. And if you get it from a reputable raw dog food source or from your grocery store in the western part of this world, like including both the States and Europe as well, probably Australia as well, but I'm not entirely sure, but the States and Europe, you don't need to freeze it for 3 weeks prior to feeding it. Is that good stuff? Alright, let me just show you the long leash again, because this is definitely one of my favorite long leashes. So this one is a 30-foot leash. I said earlier it's by Mighty Paw, and it has a buckle here essentially that you just loop the leash through and then just close it, so you can also put it around like a solid structure like a park bench or part of your car, I guess, or just anything solid. So, love this. And like I said, this is not fenced in over there, and it's not fenced in around there. There's some bushes. Yeah, so I do prefer to keep him on a leash here, especially with him eating the raw pig foot. How are we doing? So, like I said earlier, it's 12 ounces. It has about 30% bone. And then the rest is meat, cartilage, and fat. This is great for joint support, like any raw feet in general. So, chicken feet and duck feet are really great for that too. Turkey feet are too. So, this is a natural source of chondroitin and glucosamine. No need to give your dog any synthetic supplements for joint support if you can feed them raw meaty joint bones, such as raw feet, like your raw pig's feet. Just remember, I'm just try to think of another instance where he laid down while eating a raw meaty bone, or just any raw meat in general. And I guess the only other time that I can really remember is when he ate a raw duck head back in the States. So we're in Germany right now. We moved from the States to Germany. But back in the States, if you check out my raw duck head feeding video, and I'm gonna link to that in here. He ate that one lying outside on like the steps that led from the porch into the yard. And I actually did not have him on a leash there because that yard was fully fenced in. So I'm curious to see how he does with a raw lamb head. I'm gonna have him eat here soon. I'd really prefer for him to eat that outside here as well, not in the kitchen. I mean, you can always go ahead and mop the kitchen after his feeding session, but still, I mean, that makes cleanup a lot easier for sure. I guess the benefit of eating it outside on the dirt is, well, that he's gonna be ingesting some, well, soil as well, which is beneficial for the gut flora. So right now we are about, what are we, like 7 minutes into this feeding video? Yummies. So again, pork is a cooling protein. It's just a lot more fatty than rabbit, which is also a cooling protein and known as a hypoallergenic meat. Lots of dogs with skin allergies do really well with rabbit. So this is definitely a larger raw meaty bone, and one that he can't finish as quickly as others. You know, like your duck wing, for example, he does not take very long to eat that one at all. Definitely more dense and takes him longer to eat, which is awesome because it essentially works as a natural slow feeder for dogs. So yeah, I mean, it's probably going to take him around 20 minutes to polish that one off, which is a great mental workout that provides. And obviously it cleans his teeth, exercises his jaws, helps him floss. So overall, a great natural toothbrush. Which that's something I've never done with Wally. So I adopted him when he was 1.5 years old from a rescue organization in North Carolina. And I said this earlier, he's a Feist mix. That's a squirrel hunting dog from the southern states, by the way. But yeah, I immediately switched him from the crappy kibble that he was on to address all of his itchy skin issues, and switched him over to raw, and including whole raw meaty bones. And then as of late, I've also been offering him whole animals, which is a whole other well, cup of tea essentially. But yeah, I've definitely never had to brush his teeth, and his teeth are really nice and clean, so that's a plus. I guess it's the whole body workout. And in case you're wondering what kind of collar he's wearing, that is a Boss Dog tactical collar. That thing is just indestructible and does not come off. I love it. And it also has this built-in collar, or built-in handle on the collar, which is also pretty cool. Should have brought a chair. Should have brought a chair to sit on. I'm not gonna sit on the ground, it's still too cold. It's maybe like, I don't know, 45 outside, 45 Fahrenheit. And it's been pretty rainy lately, so we're also dealing with a bit of a mud situation, which I don't really want to sit in. So I guess I'm just gonna have to suck it up
or stand. Boy, buddy. Good job. So if you have a gulper and your dog's still pretty new to the concept of raw feeding or raw meaty bones, you can also hold one end of the pig foot while your dog chews on the other. And I demonstrate that in a raw turkey neck feeding video. So if you want to check that one out, you can see what I mean. I will say Wally is pretty good about not gulping raw meaty bones like raw pig's feet. Yes, I'm talking about you. He also doesn't have any other doggy competition in the house that could cause him to gulp and eat quicker, so that's good. Now, mind you, when he eats pre-made raw dog food, like the ground kind, I always put his meat into a slow feeder for dogs, and that also includes the meals that I make for him at Raw Dog Food Meal Prep. So those do include some larger cuts of meat and like turkey neck or a rabbit head or something in that size. But I also put those in the slow feeder for dogs because that drastically helps reduce his eating speed. But yeah, he really does take his time with larger raw meaty bones, and certainly whole animals like the whole duck that he just recently ate, or the whole rabbit that he had for Christmas. And when I said that he had that for Christmas, that means that he got it as a Christmas present, and the duck was the January whole animal that he got. So right now I'm incorporating whole raw animals about once a month, and I may up that frequency to bi-monthly, we'll see. But anyways, when I say that he gets to eat those whole animals, it does not mean that he gets to eat them in one feeding session, because that would be too much for him. So he's actually gotten 3 feeding sessions out of both the whole duck and the whole rabbit.
Well, another benefit of feeding whole raw meaty bones is that, I mean, they're both a great mental and physical workout. So he's going to be snoozing for about an hour and a half to 2 after this, because that's a workout, which is great. So I'm going to be able to produce this video while he sleeps and upload it on YouTube, and maybe get some other work done too. So if you ever need some me time or some work time, go ahead and feed your dog a larger raw meaty bone like a raw pig's foot, and well, enjoy the calm after that while they're snoozing and sleeping it off. See the little bird in the back? Just hopped over here. Guess it's like, what are you doing in my yard? This is my yard. Sorry, birdie. And there it goes. You still have your pig's foot in your mouth. Okay. Well. So as you can tell, he's exercising his jaws
equally. So he's using both the right side and the left side of his mouth, which is great. Great workout. And by the way, if your dog ends up not liking a raw pig's food that he started chewing on, you could always use it to make pork bone broth. So you won't have to toss it. You can still use it for something. Well, he's made some progress. He's halfway done with it. What was that? Someone pulling up? Yep. There's a church behind us or next to us, and lots of church folk who pull up and leave. So, no, it's not Sunday. It is a Tuesday today here in Germany, but they're always busy over there. And Wally's still busy with his raw pig's foot. Boy, you're gonna sleep well, puppy. You are gonna sleep so well. And like I said earlier, but I'll repeat it again, I won't be feeding him any raw meaty bone tomorrow. Tomorrow's just gonna be muscle meat and secreting organ day. And most of that muscle meat is going to be rabbit. There's gonna be a little bit of turkey. But yeah, most of it is gonna be rabbit, and I'm also adding a little veg. So this time around I made some spinach, added some red beets, dehydrated red beets, and some chia seeds, some hemp seeds, some goat yogurt, a little bit of filtered water, and oh yeah, and some kelp. Oh, this looks like a marshmallow there. Like a giant one. He sure is taking his time with this one. Goodness. We're at about 20 minutes right now. And looks like he's gonna need another 10-ish. What do you say? Are you done? No, huh? And he's on his last few bites here.
case you're wondering, Wally is about 6.5 now. I adopted him when he was 1.5. That was in 2019. And so he's gonna turn 7 in August. Right now it's mid-February. So having said that, he's also slowly gonna get older, of course. And so I love that the raw pig's foot is a natural source of glucosamine and chondroitin, which is of course great for doggy joint health, and can also help prevent arthritis in dogs. So that's awesome, of course. And I'd much rather feed him a natural source of glucosamine and chondroitin than some synthetic supplement like your Cosequin or whatever they're called. Natural food sources are always going to be more bioavailable for your dog's system and body. So whenever I can, I opt for natural. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have some hot tea when we get back inside, because even though the sun came out, it is not exactly warm today. Like, I'm still wearing my winter boots, my winter jacket. Can't wait for summer and spring to happen. So all in all, how long is he at it now? I'd say like 30 minutes, 35 minutes maybe. And he probably has another 5 minutes left. So almost 45 minutes of eating this thing. Impressive, but good. I'm glad you had a good time, buddy. I'm sort of regretting the decision of coming outside because, like I said, it's not warm, but whatever. Anything for the dog, right? Well, looks like he's comfy. So I already took the leash off of the tree. I'm holding it now. Of course, we're going to take our trash with us. Did I say that I was ready to go back upstairs like 10 minutes ago? I'm cold. Alright, enough complaining on my part. So this has been 45 minutes of chewing, chewing, and chewing action. Oh yeah, buddy, that should be gone here in a heartbeat, huh? A few more crunches. There you go. Good boy. Okay, I suggest you go potty and then we're gonna go back upstairs, okay? Was that good? Yay. All right, puppy Wally, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go potty again. Boy. All right, and now we are going back upstairs. Thanks for watching, everyone.